So here we go. All right, we should be seeing my screen, and let's get started. It's already 3 o'clock. Actually, I'm a minute late. That's great, fantastic, fine. Right. So today, what I'm going to work on is this clickable coin on the transition menu to gain more money. So generally, the general idea is that when you play the game, which we'll try right now, hopefully they set up everything correctly here. Oh, this exciting moment of loading. A lot. Lots of loading. There we go. Yeah. I'm getting a ton of notification. And then I got an argument out of error exception. Why did I get that? Oh, I know why I did get that. That's pretty simple. I'm in the wrong scene. Whoops. That's on me. Hopefully this scene will load. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Was working on something really hard. Alright, here we go. What? Now, how's that possible? Oh. Alright, I'm constantly opening new scenes here. It's getting to a point of being really silly. Alright, there we go. That looks promising. Alright, so this has everything unlocked, it seems. Great, wonderful. What's important is that, you know, when you press the start button right here, yeah, and then you have this moment where you do absolutely nothing but wait. So an idea is that during those moments where you're just waiting and waiting while the next thing is coming up, why not have it so that, you know, a little coin would show up and you can tap on it to get more money on a sort of a random basis. So at least you're doing something during that screen is the line of thinking. So actually adding that in is gonna take a little bit. What's important is that it needs to kind of show up before the instructions itself shows up. And some other exceptions need to be taken into account. For example, you need to have actually beaten that game at least once before the coin shows up at all. That needs to be taken into account as an example. So seeing that there's a lot involved in it, it's not going to be a straightforward task is my line of thinking, but we'll try to see how far we can get with that task at hand. So what I am thinking is just kind of copying one of these panels actually. These notifications are getting crazy. Alright, so we'll call this the coin panel. And this one's going to be a little strange because I'll need to somehow get a reference of it at some point. So anyways, the coin panel, this is the general range of where the coin can appear, but that in and of itself is not important. What is important is that we actually create a coin at all, and I'm going to get rid of this pause panel for the time being. I'm not going to care about these event triggers for now. Actually, I don't even need this background, so we can get rid of that entirely. Here we go. So let's create an actual coin graphic. That should be fairly simple to do. We just have to look for the actual coin graphic in here. The sprite, so Astra, our artist, created a GUI spreadsheet over here, and one of them should actually be a coin. So let's take a quick look. There it is, right there. He named it GUI coin, so let's use it. GUI coin, drag and drop in there. Oh, it did not show up because it expected an image. So, sorry for you, but what we need is this. We'd drop in a GUI coin here. And then we can drop in, I'm gonna take a shortcut and just drop in a button. Interactable transition, we want that to be an animation. Excuse me. One thing I'm also gonna do is, one thing you can do very quickly is, I'm going to add an aspect ratio fitter, have it have the height control the width, make sure that is set to 1, that's perfect. That way the only parameter I'm going to be changing is the height. I personally like to make this as screen agnostic as possible. So generally speaking, I use this. Okay, that's a little too large, obviously. And do it like that. So right now, the way I'm thinking of this is simply that I guess one thing we can do is we can try automatically generating the animator. That would actually make things a lot easier for me. Actually, I don't agree with that. All right, I'm just thinking this through. Let's call this coin. I'm just gonna go bite the bullet and just create this automatic generated controller. We want to drop this somewhere in GUI actually. So I think I usually put it under images, GUI, animations, and we'll call it coin controller. Alright, cool, and it has this coin, all these other fancy stuff that we don't really care too much about. Okay. So then, let's see. With this, the coin can now create a couple of different animations. There's all the different animations that are possible. Let's make sure that, I want to also make sure that this is a prefab too. So quick and simple easy way to do that is make sure this under menus, drag and drop that. And that should be it. Okay, so that should make things pretty easy for me. The animation thingy is woefully small, so that's fun. Scene is also woefully small, so that's also fun. Alright, cool. So now that I set it up for more widescreen purposes, more small screen purposes, let's get started on this. Alright, so what I'm going to do for now is simply adjust whether this coin is actually visible or not. Alright, I guess you can't do that with this animator. Coin here. Where... Alright, I'm just gonna remove that for now. None. Drop this here. There we go. That looks a little more promising to me. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm a little confused, but that's alright. Now we should be able to... I need the... Oh, where'd it go? I need the animation. Oh, that is also important too, but... What I want here is the animation here. Perfect. And we have this normal where it tries to grab its delta size. I'm going to get rid of that instead. The normal, which the coin is basically off. Yeah, I know I'm going all over the place, but I am actually going to get rid of all of these, to be honest. Is visible, make that a boolean. Tap. And we're going to get rid of all of these. The idea is that we have a single state. We'll call this state hidden. Then visible. And finally tapped. And the cycle of this is pretty simple. Hidden, visible goes here, then tapped goes here. Visible can go back to hidden. This has, this does not need an exit time, but it does have a 0.1 second transition. This one has absolutely zero transition from visible to hidden. This I'm going to give zero transition to, while this, also I give it zero, excuse me, we'll use exit time. And yeah, that looks good. Okay, so fairly simple stuff. When it goes from hidden to visible, what we need to check to make sure is whether it's visible is true. If that, we're going to hidden. This triggers if instead tap is triggered, in which then this the exit time takes priority. So yeah, oof. This should be fairly simple and easy to go through. I'm thinking if an integer is going to be better. Yeah, maybe we can represent this as a simple integer. I know I'm being all over the place, but state right. If state is less than 1, go there. If state is equals to 1, go here. On the other hand, if state is greater than 1, go here, and then let the time take care of it. So if it's less than 1, as in 0, it just goes back to hidden. Okay, so hidden is default, which means it checks to see if the state is 1. If it is, turn it visible. If instead it goes down to 0, make that hidden. On the other hand, if it is not, if it's greater than 0, go to tapped, and then tap goes back here. If it's greater than 0, nothing happens. If it's only equal to 1, then it actually goes back to visible, is the line of thinking. So that should actually create a fairly simple set of animations to work with. From there, then, it's just a question of adding in the proper animations. Gonna make this really silly, but okay, oh well. So with that put together and out of the way, the disabled should be fairly simple. This is supposed to be the hidden stay, and I need to actually dive into the actual function to be able to do that, but not important right now. We want to make sure that the coin has completely disappeared. It's not recording the animation. Great. Coin has completely disappeared. The size delta is unimportant, but what is important is, in fact, actually, it's kind of curious if there. Now that I think of it, it's really not pointless for me to There we go. All right, so. Okay, yeah, for now I'm just gonna stick with that, but yeah. Copy all that. Apparently was recording everything. That was not intentional, but that's all right. I really don't need an aspect ratio in that case. All right, so the position we want to make sure, or the actual location of where the coin ends up is really not important. Okay, good. And good, okay. So we have this function checking to see whether the coin is active or not. We're making sure that's inactive. We're making sure that scale is probably should be set to 0 here. And yeah, that should do that. Oh, the rotation should also probably be 0s as well. I don't know why that's not going red, but it should. There we go. Apply all that. What we also want to do is to make sure that we have a label, or actually a combination of things. So we'll start with just dropping a normal game object here. I'm gonna debate on the size later. Copy. Paste. Yeah, I'm gonna debate on the size of that later. But for now, what we want to really do is drop in a horizontal layout group and a content size fitter. The vertical fit is preferred size. So now then, we want to put in a couple of UI things, an image, which will be our currency, and a text, which will be our money. Right. I had a reference for this, just to make sure. Make sure that the spacing is about 5. The text being Arial is really, really funky, so instead we're going to use the ones that we had pre-installed. Let's go with it light. Cool, and then let's increase that font size drastically. Light is actually really light. Probably want something more like bold. Yeah, as for the image, we don't want any ray casting on that image. We don't want any ray casting on the text either. That is fine. Whereas the image, we wanted it to be the currency itself. So we're using the Zenny currency only because no other particularly good reason for that. So that's fine. Finally, I think right. So this image, we want to make sure that the layout element, its minimum, its preferred height is drastically reduced to the same size as that text. That text actually kind of looks good from my perspective, so we just want to resize that to a smaller number, let's say 40. Nope. 30. 10. 30. Maybe what I need to change is the width. No? Strange. Oh, there we go. So for now, I think that's fine. Currency. And then we'll say currency set. And once again, we want to make sure that disabled animation has properly set these to be in proper format. The delta, yeah, this makes things a little hard. Let me uncheck that for a minute. There's a quick and simple thing I made. Oops. There's a quick and simple script I made to turn off a lot of things at once. Excuse me. Alright, so that should make things a little easier to handle animations. Make sure that's 0. Make sure that's also 0. Yep. That should do the job. And obviously I'm going to disable these before applying them. Okay. So that's the makeshift disabled state I need to, at some point, rename. There isn't a good way I know of to fix that. But what we should be able to do is basically have a normal version of this where it just turns these on. I think I'll have it so that oddly these are, oh yeah, that's because I did that on purpose, never mind. We don't want this appearing, this can stay as it is. Make sure that these rotations are properly set because the old values are just going to transfer. So that's perfect. Then for pressed, all I'm going to do is turn both of these on, make sure that the rotation is properly set. Turn this one on as well. I'm gonna actually start these at 0, 0. And what's important, actually I need to change the position at some point as well. So let's change the position to just 0 for now. And then this is supposed to be when the player tapped the coin. So as I do that, the coin, I would argue, should move upwards by a significant unit, say 50, and also spin a lot. So if memory serves correct, this is the, yep, this is the right value. So let's change that to 360. All right, here, then the rotation here was set to some weird value. We want you to change to 360. There we go. And then it continues its rotation again here. 360 times 2 is 720. But we also scale it down to 0. Alright, that's fairly fast, but that's okay. Not too concerned about it being too fast. Probably right around here, I want to make sure that the scale is still around 1. Maybe squash it a little bit. Nah. Here it just kind of zooms out, and I think that's because it's in 2D. We should be in 3D view. That it would provide a more accurate portrayal. But what I'm thinking then is to basically put a key here real quick to rapidly shrink the height more quicker than the width. Give it a tiny bit of squash. We can probably plop in, oh, it's already doing it actually. It's really subtle though. I think, yeah, I'm gonna add in one more key here to exaggerate the effect a bit. I think it's also spinning a little too fast, so we can change that rotation from 360 to just 180. Make that 360 right here. Alright, well, it's good enough for now. But what's more important is this currency showing up actually. Leave the rotation as it is, but the scale should now be at 1 and 1. While its anchored position probably should be around 50. Slightly concerned. We should probably have that bounce ever so slightly. Probably want to actually create a new key here. And switch this to also be 1 so that we can at least see the label longer. And set the it needs to preserve the volume a little bit, so it should probably squash like that. Okay, so it's a little fast. We can probably decrease that speed by a significant amount. And we just have to now write up a script that makes the color of that label consistent. We might want to pull in a small outline too to make it clear what it's supposed to be. Okay, so I'm having a pretty good feeling about this. I don't know why that notification popped up. I didn't even notice it actually. We turn that off here, and we go here, and we turn that off here. Okay. So that more or less handles the animation portion of things. We can probably apply everything here. Save. Obviously what's going to be important right after this is making sure... oh, you know what? I take that back. I'm not quite done with you. I didn't want this window, however. Let's take you out for now. What I did want, however, is the animation window. There we go. So here, I want to make sure that I record that the coin position Y is set to 0. The coin currency position is also set to 0 for pretty much all the animations. And cool. And that takes care of that. Cool. Alright, so let's save projects, save scene, even commit the current progress that we made. This is not the right project. This is the right project. Adding coin animation. I wonder why graphics settings even has this. Use screen space shadows should be, yeah, but you shouldn't be using screen space shadows for this game. There's no shadows here. Adding coin animation to the main scene. Working on scripting next. So that's cool. We'll need to add a ton of stuff after that. Cool. This, I just remembered, I need to turn on all the GUI layout stuff, so that, I set this on. That should, in fact, turn, yep, that turns on the currency related stuff, which is important. But what's going to be necessary here is to actually write some scripts. So let's remove that. Let's remove this for now, and remove that for now. Scripting, fairly simple stuff. We need to add in a coin script, of course. I'm going to call it Lucky Coin Panel. And then once it finishes compiling, yep, apparently I have a call. Okay. Yes, I'm just gonna ignore that. lucky coin panel. So we're gonna open that. Save it there. And then I think what I'm gonna do is just kind of start off by copying a few of these things actually. So I have it in iPanel. The reason why I copy off of things is because I don't generally recall what I wrote specifically for this interface. So helps me kind of figure out what I need to do. All right, so there's an override right here. Just gonna copy that. Oh, there should be another override here. Yep, there's a that seems like if there's a base, usually that doesn't mean I need to do anything about it. Setup display, I think I do need to take care of. And there's cleanup, which I probably don't need. Do nothing for now. I think it still needs, no it doesn't apparently. Still generally a good idea to load these. Loading units, no. No, I think it should be fine. Then the one other thing that I obviously need is to make sure that I have a reference to the animator. Now that I think of it, I really don't need this, but that's all right. There, I'm more happy with that. So I can create a quick animator properly. I think I'm really weird and I usually do this naming convention, but oh well. Get if animator cache is null, animator cache equals get component animator return animator cache. And then I think what we had was an enumerator. I don't think we need this. You know what, I'm gonna say we do. Enum state, there's the hidden state, there's the visible state, and there's a tapped state. And by default, current state, it is hidden. And you can get this state information if you need to. I personally like to create private setters anyways, just for consistency purposes. There are actually good reasons to do that. Long story short, it helps compile time when you're refactoring, but it does make the code less easy to read. Let me see, let me check the panel here because I believe the panel already has a display function. Yeah, it does. It has a display function. Has a setup function that it does need. And And I bet you it has a hide function somewhere. No, it doesn't. Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. What we'll need is a hide function after all. Void hide. Display is basically just setting the cached animator. Set int. We'll need to make a field here. I'm usually a lazy type, so I'll just go const string state field equals, I think I just called it state. Let's check. Yeah, I just called it state. There. So I did a slightly, in my opinion, better thing, which is that I simply changed the setter of the current state to take this in. State.visible. So when it's displayed, we change the state to visible. Otherwise, we hide it. Hidden. And most important of all is public void on click. Current state dot tapped. A couple of other things that we need. We need to make sure that we have the currency information. So serialized field. We need the text. So I think that's just the Unity engine.ui.text. Currency label. We'll need to, at some point, store how much currency, which we store as actually an integer for cents. Oh, something's going on. And then here, because I'm sure we have a currency label defined at this point, currency label dot text equals, and I think I have a MiaGames dot script to convert that cents to string. There we go. Convert that information pretty quickly. What we'll also want to do while it's doing this on-click thing is to, I would argue, probably change the color of the two images to kind of this rainbow color is what I'm thinking. So we have this currency label, and I'll also get an image. currency symbol. And it might be useful for me to actually add in a few keyframes to make sure that it's in the proper state before setting the colors of these. But what I am thinking is I think I have Yep, there it is, HSB color. Color. I'm gonna call that current color. And make that new. Make a cool tooltip for myself on what this variable is supposed to be. Set the color of currency information. Hue is ignored. That doesn't get set until later, and generally speaking, I want to avoid creating this as much as possible. So, is color set false? We'll also, I guess, want a float change hue speed, which will pull up a simple 1 there. We do need serialized view. That's a little lame of me for not doing that. Range, I'm gonna say between 0f and 20. And one thing that will be important is the moment it's tapped, I'll also create an action. I think it's GUI controller. On every frame, and make that null. Now I actually have a good reason to override. Whoops. If on every frame does not equal null, whoops, then menu controller dot on update remove on every frame. Oh, it's expecting a float. Okay. That's pretty simple. Make a quick region here. Overrides. All right, so what matters here now at this point is that bind to update event. We're going to just clean up first. I believe base cleanup does absolutely nothing. Yep, it does. So We're going to need a new function to bind to that, and then add this event onto the menu update. I'm going to say on every frame, void on update. And what we're going to do is we're going to check if currency symbol is active and enabled. Same thing for currency label. If this is the case, then do stuff else, run cleanup so that this never runs again. One thing we should also do is generate a random color. If, so I'm just going to take this off for now. If is color set still equals false, we want to set it to true so that we only run this logic once, and then current color is now set to HSB color. HSB color, by the way, is a code that you can find from the, no, it doesn't have it. HSB color, by the way, is something that you can find easily on the Unify wiki. Oops. Hue is ignored. I guess I'm not going to need that space. It's not doing anything. So the color is set. What we do with this is then set the hue to a random value. Hue, I believe, only takes in from 1 to 0. Just run on update. I'm being a little lazy here, but that's all right. And then on update, what we want to do is we want to increment hue with, we want to make sure first off that this value never goes beyond 0 and 1. So current color dot hue plus plus, and we're going to say the change hue speed times delta time. So you might be wondering, like, why am I using an event rather than the normal update function? Long story short, the normal update function is actually kind of slow. On mobile, that is, the more the scripts implement that function, the worse the performance becomes. I'm under the impression that setting it to an event mitigates this problem. I'm probably wrong on this, but it's worth doing stuff. Change the hue. Set the currency's color. So currency symbol color will now be set to current color dot to color, which is a function apparently. And likewise, the currency label dot color to that currency color. So presumably alright, I guess nothing happened. We're gonna wait until it compiles so that all the fields appear on the Lucky Coin panel script on the bottom there. Alright, good. So the color range, we do want to make sure the transparency is all the way up there. I'm gonna say somewhere around here looks like a good color to start with. What matters again is that the hue is completely ignored. The saturation and the value is what it copies over. The coin, we don't want the coin, excuse me. The currency image we do need, and the currency label we do need. Oh, you know what? Darn it, I've already shot myself in the foot there. Okay, fine, whatever. Start with that. And what we need now is the fact that this coin being a button actually needs to be binded to this thing right here. And on the Lucky Coin panel on click. So now the event is actually binded and it would actually do something about it. Finally, what I'm going to do is add this into the GUI controller. This should be fairly simple to do. Let's see. GUI controller is our general Lucky Coin panel, coin panel. GUI controller is basically our catch-all global script, and then we make sure that we have a property implementing this. I'm gonna search for wherever this is. Okay, so there's a bunch of share panels. I just realized that the animation for the way I'm imagining the animation to work is not going to be pretty once we get to the game transition scripting. Yeah, that's fine for now. We can worry about the animations later. The fact that I, obsess over it so early in development of this feature is kind of a bad sign. But anyways, so this is the game transition panel, and whenever it shows up, there is a display. Okay, start session. Otherwise, we're closing out a minigame. I'm gonna kind of follow through how this works. Start session. At some point, I bet you it calls, yep, start next minigame. Which, so this function is the end last minigame function. Wait for the closeout animation to finish. Update the difficulty. Okay. So I'm going to yeah, I'm going to kind of start here. This is a pretty silly thing to do, but fix me. Make sure to take probability into account. There's also the fact that there's nothing for me to tell this transition panel that I have in fact tapped on this, unless yeah, there's a simple way to fix this. Menu controller, currency sent. Is this the one? Let me check. Menu controller dot coin panel dot display, and right before starting, showing the start instructions. Show instructions. We want to start hiding here. That's fine. So this will make the coin appear throughout the duration of when the next minigame shows up and when the instructions for the minigame shows up at all times. So that's fun. This display function also needs to be adjusted a bit because it does not take into account the fact that setup display, which is here. It does not randomly position the coin anywhere. So yes. So we're just gonna always see the coins kind of being very sadly in the lower left hand corner unless I change this variable real quick. Now it's just going to be at the center of the screen, which would be really annoying, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm worried about functionality at this point. So here it is. We have this lucky coin panel that we need to set. We set it here. We play the game. And we hope that, unlike last time, we didn't make too many bugs out of all this. Animator has not been initialized. Curious why you would say that. Why would you say that? The animator's right here and it's completely set active. Welp, this happens sometimes. Well, I don't pretend I know what's going on. We can take the easy route, however. If the animator cache is not doing what I think it does, then we demand that the animation be revealed to us. Oh well. Thought I had a good run with that. Alright, so let's try this. Animator's not initialized. Curious that you say that. Is that because it's disabled for whatever reason? Huh, it is. Alright, I'm wondering why specifically are you disabled and not like all these other share labels, to be honest. This is not what I care about. Unless the animator itself turns it off automatically. We let the loading screen load for whatever the heck it wants to. Yeah, something disables it for whatever reason. I'm curious why anything disables this lucky coin thing. saying that it shouldn't. Oh, you know what? I think I know exactly what it is. There we go, the preloading. Aha. Alright, so that's the reason why. That actually makes a lot of sense why I did that. Alright. In the meantime, let's see what I covered. Add coin to appear in transition menu periodically, generating random amounts of money. Which it's not doing right now. Alright, here we go. There. Alright, we definitely need a sound effect for tapping that coin. Alright, cool. So it's a bit silly, but it works. This does need to get larger, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm going to turn these on for now. The coin being that small is fine. The currency being this small is not fine. So we're going to bump that up to around 80 right there. And then I'm going to bump up the width to match that 40, 50-ish. Yeah, 50. And then that looks like the height reaches to 110. Maybe these need outlines. I think I debated about this earlier. Or maybe drop shadows. Try drop shadows. Just for the heck of it, add another drop shadow right here. Actually, I kind of like that 128. I think this should be more subtle, to be honest. There we go. So the hue is not changing, that's good to know. In a way, I'm not too concerned about that, but yeah. Yeah, it just disappears. I'm not a fan of that. Fantastic. There's one other thing I noticed I completely forgot while looking at this. Plus sign label. Zenny symbol. Currency label. Fortunately, plus is a pretty universal language, so we don't need to add any translations for that. The label's not changing color is actually something I'm finding really disturbing. Yeah, okay. So earlier I mentioned that I find it disturbing that the labels, or that the animation was not quite what I want it to be. That's fine. So here, there's no transition to it, and I do want transition, so that's the first thing I'm working on. This is fine. This I'm not fine with. Fine to keep that as a fixed duration, but that's fine. And the one last thing is, I think the animation for appear and disappear should be more subtle, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. Oh, animated, yeah. So this is the appear thing, and the way I'm thinking of it is, let's make all these visible for now. Oops. Wow, I made a huge mess here. I don't need a size delta either. Or the anchored. No, I do need the anchored position, excuse me. But where I think would be important is to have these be like, that's big right here. Have these start at 0. Why did I do that? So have a more dramatic entrance. Have this start, I guess, at 9 degrees. And I think because it's perfectly 2D, it's hard to tell what just happened right there. Alright, so the Y is probably not what I wanted. And then the Z is fine. Wow, that's a bit dramatic. Maybe I should just set the Z back to 0 as it is. That the spin right there is really not adding anything. I know why that's happening too. It's a scale because the Z rotation takes priority in this case. So kind of make more sense to have it flip upwards. Yeah, I think that's fine. And the last thing I probably want to do is have it start from a lower position actually, and end up on a higher position here. So this, gonna set that to 0, but this I want to set to like -50. Yeah, okay, cool. If I set that to 30 frames, probably want to jack that up, speed up to 45. All right, sounds good. Pressed also. This last frame can last a lot longer, in my opinion. Whoops. I don't know how that happened. Okay. Oh, strange. Oh, lots of these stuff started appearing. Great, wonderful. Let me turn these off for now. Okay. Alright, well, if you're just gonna do that to me. So what happens? Okay, that I don't need this. We really don't need any of these. Okay, so that happens. We want this moment specifically to linger longer. It's not active at this point. The rotation is not important. The coin scale is at 0. And here, right now, the scale is at 1. We're going to set it to 1 here. And it's going to bounce a little bit, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, okay. So this one, probably I want to make it flat. Alright, it doesn't give me the option for whatever reason. There it is. Flat. Flat. Cool. And that'll give them a little time to kind of see what they accomplished. Alright, yeah, I like that. Okay. So we turn back the group layout stuff again. Save that. Cool. Not a fan of working directly from this scene. So just gonna go right on ahead and work on my dummy scene here. Alright, cool. We should try to save the project as well. So that actually adds the coin, but functionally it does absolutely nothing. It just appears in the center of the screen, which is really boring. It does not appear randomly, which it should. Now it's just repeating that animation. That's disturbing, to say the least. Yeah, I don't particularly find that fun. Usually if that happens, it's something simple, like expanding this. Disabled is supposed to be looped. No. Highlighted is not supposed to be looped either. Normal is definitely not supposed to be looped. Yeah, none of these are supposed to be looped. That would explain that. I don't think I can get particles to appear above. Alright, the disappear animation I should like a lot better now. It actually shrinks, right, which is intentional. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so the only thing that I'm seeing here which is really wacky is the fact that the coin's color is not changing. Which is a little weird from my perspective. I wonder why that is. Probably because this is not true for the longest time. Enum, tap animation, just tapped, label appeared, hidden. Da, 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 da. I should stick with hidden. Then we'll make it so that if the state is label appeared, then we change state to hidden and stop running this event. So in theory then what that'll do is it'll make sure that I tapped properly before it tries to unbind from this event. Well, I tap it, it checks to see what the state is. If it's just tapped, and it just keeps ignoring all the effects of unbinding to that event until it finally notices that the currency has appeared on screen. So at least that reduces the racing condition issue. Yeah, that worked. So now the only other problem is that the animation is not working for everything in that coin currency thing, plus that plus sign is really disturbing. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that plus sign font, so we can try going for something more simpler. Yeah. Alternatively, I could just move it there. Nah, I think moving it up here was the right thing to do. No, I think this is fine. Alright, so the only other thing then is to bring this up. I'm just going to change this to graphic. All currency graphics. Color flashes. Gonna do the dumb method here. Change for index is equal to 0, index is less than less than the length of this graphic. Index. And I think this just creates a new color instance. So what would actually be useful is if we just store that information on a different color. While this is enabled. Oh, whoops, don't play. Silly me. I have yet to set those variables. Incidentally, one thing I should check to see is if the game transition panel has its own currency variable to it. Displayed currency sense. Doesn't seem like that actually does anything. There's a part in here where I must increment. Yeah. I guess I must have put in the end score panel. Money made, which is current currency right here, current cents. Aha, found it. All right. Yes. Okay, I did do this on purpose. Yep, I did do this on purpose. Currency cents, and it just increments that versus the math out round at 2int. Somewhere in here I do this too. Okay, displayed score plus currency. And that's displayed currency. Okay. All right, it's fairly simple then. I need to turn you off anyways. Sorry, I was kind of thinking this through to make sure I know what I was doing. Our currency graphics, we make sure that the plus sign gets in there, the Zenny symbol gets in there, and the currency label gets in there. So, in theory then, All right, so far that's doing absolutely nothing in regards to the money that you're trying to make, but that is all right because, okay, here it is. Inside the lucky coin panel here, what we should also do is increment. There we go. So that should happen, and finally, I'm gonna make a quick and simple dirty hack here. Coin display panel dot currency in cents equals random dot range. Should be between 1 and 99, I'd say. Well, 100. Again, quick and simple. This is fine. There's a place where it says display score, display currency. All right, yeah, this. Menu controller dot currency cents. So what I should regardless try to do is to update this displayed currency cents the moment I notice that this is being tapped. Or it may just not be a problem. Let's try to see if it's a problem at all, actually. Yeah, there's a blink. You can see where something's wrong. In fact, what's interesting is that the currency cent is not being updated either. That is because I don't know why that is, actually.
So I heard back from the Code Dojo person, and they said that they'll notify us both networks.
Okay, that's from the reset stats here.
Did the thing that I sent you originally have like a time? Where, when? Sounds great. How's things?
The display should...
So you got the screensaver.
I don't understand why this is not working. Is currency sent actually do anything? Nope, apparently not. So this sounds like a job for the debugger. Put one thing over here. Play the game. Okay. Zero, that's fine. That's part of resetting things. That's part of zero, that's fine. Not interested in that. Alright, so here it's 95. This is because, where's the call stack? Okay, that's fine. Huh. Oh, you know what? That's the reason. I have two places to update this. Fun. That would explain it. Here it is. This whole thing plus the currency. That can only make sense. All right. Update transition score label. It did not actually trigger the animation for. I guess that's one thing I can do real quick as well. Update transition currency label. Yep. This should do the job. Alright, it's almost 5 o'clock. Before I end this stream, I do want to make sure that I place the coin to appear at any random location on the screen, of course. So, yeah, there we go. It's now at 68. So I'm making an absurd amount of money at this rate. Yeah, an absurd amount of money. The game was not balanced to take that into account, but that's alright. So the last couple of things is obviously figuring out when it should appear, which I'll take care of on a later time. What's more important is the actual location that it appears in needs to honestly change. So, yes, the parent rect transform. Range null. Anchored position. I think there's a way to get to calculate a rectangle in the local space of the transform. Local space should work. So, before I do that, make sure if position range does not equal null, or does equal null, excuse me. Position range is equal to rect transform transform.parent. If that's the case, we probably want to also cache the rect, because if memory serves correct, that rect is always generated and it destruct too. Yep, it destruct. So then this dot local position can basically be any location, really. Random dot range. Actually, now that I think of it, I don't think you can actually do this. Correct. Dot position range, excuse me. Xmin. Xmax. Y. Ymin. Ymax. And transform that local position to random position. Set up range. Set up random. Generate the coin at a random location. Set visibility. And I just remembered that actually that transform is incorrect. We need to make sure we get the proper set of transforms. All copy this. That's fine, this is all fine. And what I need to worry about is got the random position. Yes, this this is poorly named, for the lack of better words. Positions. Position range. Call that a rect. Bool is range set, also make that false. All right. These just need to change to rect. And I'm going to take the lazy route here of just creating a quick game object. Yeah. Actually, I don't even need to do that. Yeah. This just needs a 50 by 50 by 50 by 50. Left and right, it can actually just be 25. Set up. Make sure that's all properly set. That is okay. I'm gonna make sure that in the main scene this is properly set as well. It is not. So there we go. That's much more like it. This is also not properly set. Lots of these things are not properly set. There's another one right here. And just to make sure, turn everything on. Switch to my scene. So now every time a coin appears, it should, in theory, place it at a random location. Yep, it did. So it just needs a sound effect attached to it. The fact that the Y position is not really changing is a kind of curious. I wonder why that is. No pun intended. Yeah, the positioning of the coin always being at that area is kind of weird to me. So is it that the Y position can never change? Sounds strange to me. Oh, this will be a lot better, actually. I can get rid of this. Um, yeah, you know what, going back. Uh, vector 3, range array equal new vector 3, 4. This is true. Set the array up properly. For all these position or range array if range array index dot x is less than x range dot x, set x range to this value, else if this whole shebang y, copy this shebang, x range y is equal to that value. Do the same thing for y. Y range make that a y, make this also a y. X range dot x, x range dot y, y range dot x, y range dot y. There we go. It's local position. We can change this to just position. Oh wow, it's really tiny. So it's really tiny for seemingly no reason. We should try to figure out why that is. It positions it at this crazy Z location. I don't understand why that is. That's fine. Oh. Yeah, I do know why that happens. Trans... Whoops. Transform dot position dot Z. Alright, that should do it. It's actually because the parent or the transform itself is not in the Z position. There we go. So it seems to constantly appear there, which is disturbing. Alright, so at least it's appearing there. It's curious as to why it calculates it as such. Oh, because this Y has not been properly changed. X, 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 Y, 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 X, X. Yep. That would explain why it would appear in the left. But that would not explain... Yeah, that doesn't actually explain a whole lot. Curious. Alright, these I don't need anymore, so I can delete that. Alright, good. Range array, which doesn't contain any information. Range array should now contain a bunch of information. It's saying -3, -0.5, and -9. So obviously that -9 I don't need to worry too much about. So the range should be 0, 0. And the range y here is also at 0, 0. Okay. Okay, so those are right. So far, these look completely right to me. Okay. Presumably these are supposed to be ward positions. I'm kind of curious as to why this is... Nope. Oh, because the animation handles the Y positioning. Okay, that actually makes it a simple problem to solve. Yeah, I'll worry about that problem later. So anyway, so that's the new coin feature, and as mentioned earlier, there's a lot of bugs I need to cover on a later date. But for now, that should kind of give like a basic idea of what it's like to add a feature to the game. Obviously, I bump into bugs like these, which is always fun and handy dandy to deal with. But anyways, I'll see you guys at a later time. So, see ya. Bye. Also see you next week too.